I study rap battles for a living. I study rap battles for a living.
Say, Drake, I heard you lost your case. Oh, Drake, how does it feel? How does it feel knowing you did the most bitch-assness of shit and you still fucking lost? This is what happens when your karma is bad. This is what happens when you do all that fuck shit and all that fuck shit catches up with you. But y'all see the video. I ain't even got no intro. We just finna get into it. So, last week, Drake officially lost the lawsuit for defamation of character over Not Like Us, the greatest diss track of all time. Now, anybody would have told you Drake didn't have a case to begin with, but dealing with Aubrey's Angels, the stands of Drake, you know, the people who glaze this man 50 ways to Sunday, Krispy Kreme, you would have thought that Drake had this huge plan to take over the industry. He was gonna get paid handsomely. He was finna get buttload of money, including his masters.
Going to ask for something that no artist has ever asked for or received. It's going to be very interesting to see if he receives that.
As far as money?
As far as compensation for damages.
On the lawsuit side?
Absolutely. We talking upwards of $2 billion.
Well, that didn't happen. UMG pretty much told this nigga, look, we don't got time for this. Stop acting like a bitch. You lost the rap battle. Get your ass back to work. That's pretty much all UMG really told him.
I told you punk ass niggas to get off the motherfucking timeline and rap. That's the problem. You niggas be crying. You niggas be bitching. You niggas need to fucking rap.
Now, I didn't went on the internet and I saw somebody refer to this as buck breaking. Now, for those who are not familiar with the term buck breaking, let me break it down for you. Yes, buck breaking refers to an old punishment used by slave owners in the 1800s to where they take your manhood in front of your friends, your family, the whole plantation had to watch, including the slave owners joined in. That's what Drake stands have tried to tell me that's what Drake is going through, when that was never the case. Let me just break it down to you what happened. Drake fucked around and he found out. That's all that happened. Picked a fight with somebody. You ever realize when they tell you to don't fuck with the quiet kid in class? Kendrick Lamar was the quiet kid in class, collecting information and examining the room, watching everybody and how they move and how they operate. So now people are mad. They coming up with conspiracies. Now it done got to the point where Kendrick might sweep the Grammys again. And he got everybody in an uproar because they're like, I'm tired of this nigga Kendrick winning.
You niggas be crying. You niggas be bitching.
So this is what we finna do. First of all, y'all can't get mad because you're being hypocrites at that point. Y'all begged Kendrick to come outside. He came outside, beat the golden child's ass, and now y'all want him to go in the house. No, that's not what's gonna happen. Yes, you're not about to sit here and convince me that this wasn't part of Drake's big fuck you to UMG. Same people that gave Kendrick Lamar the Super Bowl halftime show also gave you a clothing collaboration with your brand OVO in the NFL. And you still had your Nike deal, you still had your record deal, you still was charting, you still was selling records, and you still was selling out tours. So to the outside looking in, like all you Drake stands told me, what did he lose?
He lost number one spot.
Is he not the most streamed artist of 2025?
He himself has
Definitely
said
is.
Hold on. Did the company that owned his plane take his plane away?
that's fine. That's fine.
Hold up.
You say he
However,
loaded his
Hold
plane
on. Let
I'm
me
on
just
the internet, bro.
let's just go down the list of stuff. Did he lose his deal with the gambling company?
He did a hell of a
Hold
job.
on, no.
Sad to have
Hold on.
leave.
Maybe he lost it. Hold on.
Answer the questions.
Nigga was on
Let me
fire.
have a conversation with Blast.
Hold on. Did he lose his Sony deal with OVO Sound? What did he lose?
Okay, Blast. Let me ask you. I gotta answer your question, bro. So you do this. You as a rapper, you do podcasts and all that thing. You will let a nigga come up and say you were a pedophile, even though people are still pulling up to your spaces.
You gotta get.
No. Even though niggas are still listening to you, you will let niggas come up and destroy your whole shit off of a lie. And
Destroy. Hold on.
Your brand, bro. This nigga is worth
because the words,
Blue.
Hold on, Blue. The words mean
worth $1
something.
billion, bro.
Hold on. Hold on, Blue. The words mean something. What exactly was destroyed?
Y'all tried to tarnish this nigga brand by
Hold
calling
on,
him a
hold
pedophile.
on, Blue. Hold on,
So
Blue.
if
Hold on, Blue. Hold
let me
on,
ask
Blue.
you this:
Hold on,
would
Blue. Hold
Jay
on,
Z
Blue. Hold
allow
on, Blue.
this?
Hold on,
Would
Blue.
Jay
Hold
Z
on, Blue.
allow this?
Hold on, Blue. Hold on, Blue. Hold on, because you ain't really answering one question because you know the answers to the questions. I'm just trying to make sure I got it right. All he's dealing with is being embarrassed for losing a battle.
The black way, the white way. How you lose in both colors, fam? First, let me show you how you lost the black way. First of all, you picked a fight, got your ass beat, then you tried to go to police and file charges for assault, which doesn't make any form of fucking sense whatsoever, since you're the one who picked the fight in the first place.
I study rap battles for a living.
Now let me tell you how he lost the white way. See, Dre, you thought that UMG was going to do everything in their power to continuously protecting you, and you abusing your right because you can sell all these records, you have more privilege than others, you was bragging about your relationship with Lucian Grains, and you thought that you was finna do the same thing you did to Pusha T back in 2018 with the story Adidon. You thought you was finna waltz your ass right into UMG office and was like, hey, yeah, man, I don't like the way this guy really talks about me. I'm gonna need you guys to take that song down. Lucian looked at this nigga like, the fuck you want us to do about it? Because remember, Kendrick Lamar only has a distribution deal through UMG. He's not signed to a record deal to UMG. Aren't you the same one who signed the petition? Lyrics were not able to be used as, evidence for court cases when Young Thug went through his RICO case with YSL? Yeah, that was you. You signed that petition. You were one of the head honchos of it. So how can you sit here and say, oh, this is about artistic freedom of expression, but then when somebody uses it as artistic freedom of expression, you get mad and want to suppress it because you're not the one who won. See, you antagonized Kendrick to drop. Everything was made for you to win. All you had to do was out-rap Kendrick, and you couldn't even do that. You fucked around and found out and got your ass beat because of it. So now that you lost this lawsuit, this fucks up Iceman, because now the expectations for Iceman are greater than what they was when you were teasing the album in the first place. Now you got academics saying not only is it a classic, but it's also going to sell 500K first week.
Iceman 500K, man. Book it. At least. Iceman 500K. Book it. At least.
Now, I'm telling you like this. If Drake does not sell nowhere near 500K to academic Drake standards, this is a flop. I'm sorry. You gotta stop acting like a bitch, bro. Just take the L, move on, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and you'll be all good. Literally documents 49 through 51. That's where you really lost the case for me.
Number 49 says, for January 1st, 2009 through the present, all documents and communications relating to Drake's criminal history or lack thereof, including background investigations, due diligence, inquiries, checks, and reports related to criminal records. Now, in legalese, it is important that they said criminal records twice. Whereas what he says in number 50 is to present all documentation and communications relating to allegations. And so what Drake is saying is, for me, check and see if I have any criminal history. Look in to see if I have any actual criminal record. For Kendrick, he says, look at the allegations of domestic violence. And then in 51, he says, any communication related to Dave Free and his relationship with Kendrick Lamar and Kendrick's kids. And so the narrative that you're trying to spin here is that I'm somehow not looking at these as equal, and they're not. Because Drake's legal team is not making them equal. Drake's legal team is saying, look at our criminal record. But for Kendrick, bring up any information you will have about potential allegations. Do you see how these two things aren't the same? And so in your mind, you want this to be that Drake's doing the right thing. But once again, what he's being is a bitch.
This was never about Kendrick Lamar and that weak-ass diss song. This was Drake being a martyr for other artists to go against the machine and have a slight, somewhat slim chance of winning. But to say that I fought the machine is going to make me look good. No, Drake, it made you look like a punk-ass bitch. The Blue Jays lose to the Dodgers? Oh, you ain't gonna be able to walk away from this ass whooping for a long time. So let's get this straight. Boom, you started off with a petition with Not Like Us from Spotify to iHeart. They gave you all the evidence to which you withdrew your petition.
Well, what Drake filed against iHeart wasn't a lawsuit. What he filed was a petition.
Yes.
And it was a petition to try to make iHeart give a deposition. So Drake wasn't asking for money. He was asking for information. Right. So iHeart could not have made a payment. iHeart could negotiate to give Drake documents or something else showing they didn't do anything wrong. And once Drake received those documents and saw that there was nothing there, he could agree to drop his petition And that's exactly what happened. Okay, he simply dropped his petition because after he saw what he needed to see, he realized iHeart was not engaged in any of the actions that he was accusing them of.
That was already dumb. Then you went to New York, tried to get a defamation lawsuit to go into trial for UMG over Not Like Us. Judge Vargas literally looked at this statement like, okay, so you also said defamatory things about him that may or may not be true. So in the heart of a rap battle, things get said, lines get crossed, buttons get pushed. You willingly engage. It ain't like UMG put a gun to this man's head and make you say the things you said about this man. Then and also in all your other songs, you said you would never reply to anybody who ever made a diss song about you, which we all know over his career that's been a lie. And you willingly participated and said some things about him, saying he beats his wife and he may not be the father of his son. If you don't get this lawsuit the absolute fuck out my face, Drake, and take your ass back to UMG and go to work and go give them people that motherfucking album so they can go make the rest of their money off of the contract yo dumb ass willingly signed. I start a fight, get my ass beat, go crying to my mama. Then she found out not only did I start the fight, but I hit the nigga first. And I still lost the fight. You did all that, nah, you following through.
Nah, this time, nigga, you following through. I guess you need another week to figure out how to improve. What the fuck is taking so long? We waiting on you.
And there's another thing I want to ask. And maybe a Drake stand in my comments can tell me this. Roll the clip.
Drake doing a lawsuit for Not Like Us don't make sense to me because Meet the Grams exist. That song was 100 times worse than what he said on Not Like Us. So that just says to me, he don't care about being called what he was called. He care about the song being a hit.
How the fuck was Meet the Grams not in this defamation lawsuit? If defamation of character is what you were going for in the first place. So for Drake fans who be like, well, he got called a pedophile. Where in the song did he call Drake a PDF? Because all he said was certified lover boy, certified pedo. Now, that's not me saying Aubrey Drake Graham, you're a pedo. That's just me saying you hang around. It's an open blanketed statement. That's like me saying, yo, I heard you a bitch. You can't take me to court by me saying something that I feel is his opinion. All I said was, I heard that you a bitch. Just like he said, I hear you like I'm young. Meaning you can't take me to fucking jail for that. Then you're going to try to reappeal the case. You're going to get the same judge 9 times out of 10. Judge Vargas and 2 other judges. Judge Vargas and 2 other judges are going to look through this again like, bro, this isn't defamation of character. He is not calling you, Aubrey Drake Graham, a pedo, so the case is not going to stick. Number 2. You can't bring any new evidence into this case. I don't know why Maul said that shit on his podcast, as if you can do that.
It's not. I mean, the people have to know that his lawyer, his team, they're going to appeal this and take this to another level. People know that. Like, this is not, this is not over with. Like,
should we just let it go?
No, see, no.
Like,
no.
At this point,
no. If you and your team, your lawyers had things in your possession that prove what you're saying is correct.
But why wouldn't, and I'm not saying that it depends the judge, and that's why the appeal process exists to. Didn't they reveal everything?
Over with. I know people hear things getting dismissed, but like there's a whole nother level that I believe this is getting ready to go to. I don't think this is over. It's definitely not over here.
When it comes to reappealing, you can't do that. Or when you file for an appeal, you can't do that. You can only go off of the evidence that was presented in its original case. Number 3, and this is probably the most important one. If you lose the reappeal, where does Drake go from there? Because let's be honest, your whole album rollout is I know what you did last summer. I know the games y'all played. You want to know how I know y'all played them games? Because I played them with y'all at the peak of my career. So that's also something that people pointed out that didn't make sense. How are you critiquing something that you've benefited from at the height of your career?
Scorpion came out and this dude was on every single damn playlist advertised. People were complaining over paying premium for no ads only to get him on every playlist. There was no reason that he had to be on every doggone playlist. Even the ones not even related to rap he was on. Now Aubrey's Angel's trying to make him the martyr of the music industry, exposing it. Meanwhile, he's been benefiting it. He's just saying that allegedly his op is using it now and he doesn't want it. Just ridiculous.
This gotta be the best album Drake has dropped in the last 5 years. I mean, this decade. Because if this album fails, I'm about to start having some conversations. So what we are watching is the meltdown of Iceman in its purest form. Trying to get, he gotta pay the 400 mil. He gonna be on the Carnival cruise lines like this. Shout out my dog Deontay Kyle for this one.
Probably was gonna have that man touring to his late 70s. And even then, he might not still put a dent in that $400 million. Coming to a cruise near you. Y'all was gonna see Hotline Bling on the cruise.
Jimmy want a rib. Jimmy want a steak. Jimmy want a piece of your chocolate cake. More than all that, Jimmy wants to break, cuz Jimmy got soul. Jimmy got soul. Jimmy got soul. Halloween, I'm burning Club Paradise to the fucking ground. Every YouTuber had their turn. It's my turn now. And I hope y'all see this video. Cause the bitch assness y'all do, it's about to all come back on you. So heed my warning. Go tell all them OVHOES they know where to find me. And y'all gonna hate me for it. 10:31, 6 p.m.